I'm Dr. Stacy McNulty. I work for the SUNY ESF Adirondack Ecological Center, where I'm the co-director. I'm here on one of our research projects today. So we are in the Forest Preserve, which is the state land in Adirondack Park. It is a huge amount of acreage and there's a lot of recreation that happens there. And so our project is working with our state partners at the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to figure out if there are some impacts from recreation, and if so, is that something that can be informed by our data to go into the management space. We started the Ecological Scorecard project in late 2019. We had a partial field season. We tried some pilot work, and so we really got going about 6 or so years ago. And so this is a project where we're looking to monitor impacts of recreation on public land. It's specific to Adirondack Park, but the idea is that this kind of method that we're using can be ported out and used in other public spaces. We want to know, what is that impact like? Can we measure it through time? What's natively here in terms of the fauna, the flora, what might be changing through time? Maybe something's going on that is recreation based, and we might want to have some data that goes to the agency that then they would make some kind of management decisions about. We want to know over time, how are things doing? And we want the recreating public to have a really good experience when they come to places like this in the Forest Preserve. We're trying to pick things that are really telling us local conditions that might be responding to recreation. So there's obviously going to be an impact right here in the exact area where people are, but how much of that impact extends into the forest? So our plots go up into the woods and continue on for 100 meters so that we can really see what's that gradation of change look like through space. And then we will come back again and look at that change through time. The goal here is really for us to all recognize our role as stewards of public lands, right? We share these spaces, we want to recreate in them and have a good time with our families and friends. Can we be good stewards of the forest and the waters and respect wildlife, right? Respect plants, hoping that people will use good principles when they're in the forest. Part of it is just acknowledging our own responsibility and roles as humans, and then part of it is getting to share this wonderful space. New York is so lucky that we have this great public land that everybody can come to for free. So how are we showcasing our space as New Yorkers and showing it off, because it's beautiful and we want people to come here and enjoy it.
My name is Natasha Karniski-Keglevitz. I work at Newcomb's Adirondack Ecological Center, part of SUNY ESF, and I've been there for a little over 10 years now as one of the long-term monitoring ecologists. So basically what we do after collecting the data, we bring it all back to a lab space and we go through it. We end up analyzing the data, we put reports together, and this all goes to the DEC with the idea that they can use it for management actions and decisions in the future, which then we can continue to monitor and see how these management actions are successful or not successful. When we get to a field site, we go straight to our point of interest, which is usually a campsite, or sometimes it's along a trail, and we start to mark out transects. And so we have these 100-meter transects where we will be doing vegetation surveys. We'll look for salamanders, very important ecosystem indicators. We check for vertical structure complexity, so how much stuff is in the woods for like leaf litter, trees, how well can you see through the woods. We look to see if there's any earthworms in the area, because earthworms are not native to the Adirondacks, but can be brought in by humans. And we do other surveys around a campsite, like we'll look for loons if there's a body of water. So we always try to look for things that are good indicators both of recreational impact and then of environmental health. So people at a campsite might not realize that if they go wandering off of the footprint of the campsite where they're supposed to stay, they might be disturbing salamander habitat, they might be moving moss off of rocks and creating bare soil, which again, the animals or the decomposers, they need those things to really make the ecosystem thrive. With this data, we hope to be able to actually make it accessible to the public so they can actually see what their impact is on a campsite, and hopefully they can, adapt their behaviors to be better recreationists.
My name is Sarah Hart. I'm a project assistant with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. I'm in the Forest Preserve program, which means that I work on the public lands of the Adirondack and Catskill Park. Ultimately, this project helps us adaptively manage recreation in the Adirondacks for ecological resiliency. On the one hand, we want to make sure that people get to enjoy the Adirondacks for many, many generations to come. So we're thinking long term, way into the future. But at the same time, we are also stewards of 3 million acres of forests and wetlands and water bodies and all the plants and critters that call these 3 million acres of public lands their home. The importance of this project is in its ability to provide up-to-date, impartial scientific data and analysis that helps us manage recreation in the Adirondacks, on the public lands of the Adirondacks, but also fulfill our mandate of stewarding the ecological resources, the ecological health and integrity of the Adirondack Park. Our partnership with ESF goes back many decades. We have a really amazing collaboration. And actually, a lot of our staff are SUNY ESF graduates, either from their undergrad or graduate programs. The forestry school has been a really fantastic resource for us. And as a conservation agency, it is important for us to be able to tap into the expertise of faculty at SUNY ESF and also other academic institutions, just because we need that impartial, unbiased, and really cutting-edge expertise that they can provide. I make an effort every summer to go and meet with the Ecological Scorecard team out in the field and spend a day with them. And I have to say that I am always blown away by the enthusiasm of that team. It gives me hope, but it also gives me, beyond hope, some enthusiasm of my own to make sure I don't waver and I keep going and I remain committed to our conservation work.
Just being in a beautiful place like this and seeing that New York has the foresight to set aside such a big tract of land to protect, I think that's encouraging.
There's a website, you can go on the DEC's website and look up visitor use management in the Adirondack Park, and you can find the Ecological Scorecard there, and hopefully all of our scores will be trending in a good direction, and if they're not, then management will happen to try to address those things. I would say that the agency should get a lot of credit for the kind of work it does do, because there's a lot of people that are really caring about public lands, and I see that when we're working together on this project.